Ever since renowned adventurer Sir Arthur forgot his manual of monsters at the bar one night, the patrons of the Ways Away Tavern have been fascinated by the creatures they found betwixt its pages. While most of the tavern regulars have never even ventured out of town, that hasn't stopped them from cracking open the book to argue, speculate, and trying to determine if each monster is a fight or flight.
So what I see here is a description that talks about a monstrous cross. I feel like maybe we're identifying that this is not the most monstrous cross that could have happened. Because if you sort of switch the ratios or put the bear and the owl in different places, you maybe got a more menacing creature on your hands.
I'm not really scared of owls, but I am scared of bears. I'm seeing a lot of owl on the front, but a lot of bear on the back. So depends, I guess, which direction I'm coming at this thing.
The one disadvantage of being an owl is their hollow little bird bones, and I have the feeling that this thing doesn't have hollow little bones. I think it's got, more thick bear bones, so really you're negating the main weakness of an owl, in my opinion.
Well, maybe we'd have to see it from behind to see how thick of a rump we're looking at to determine its bone density.
Honestly, I'm questioning the person who wrote this entry, because from what I'm seeing not a monstrous cross, but a darn right cute cross.
They're definitely leading with a pretty biased opinion there with monstrous. Maybe they should leave that up for the interpretation of the reader.
Let's back up a step. Would you fight an owl?
I'd fight 2 owls.
So long as it's not getting my jugular with its claws, and so long as I get a good swat at it, the aforementioned hollow bird bones are just going to crack under the pressure.
I agree.
Now, I hate to be this person, but I feel like talons might be the appropriate terminology here.
Is it talons on the front and claws on the back? And are we more afraid of one or the other?
I feel like I always see talons grab. They sort of like reach in, they pierce you, they pull you up in the air, and then you get dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm more afraid of claws?
More afraid of claws.
That's based on purely like a moment's consideration.
Do we think they're domesticatable?
Now that's an angle I haven't considered. What is the usefulness of an owlbear? And now what if there's a sinister plot here? They've discovered what they're good for as far as domestication purposes, and to keep us all from getting into the owlbear gold mine that they've discovered, they want to make sure that we're as scared as possible of these guys.
Big owlbear.
We're getting to a shadow government.
That makes me wonder if these things have sort of a hierarchy or a way that they structure their society.
The way you breached into that question about their society when I brought up the shadow government, are you in any way trying to imply that an owlbear wrote this entry?
Is Sir Arthur in fact an owlbear? Is that what we're getting to?
We cannot confirm or deny that he is an owlbear.
I guess it would come back to whether we think that someone with talons or someone with claws could sketch better. What do you think is the better sketching apparatus?
Talons have to be the better.
I agree.
Because if they sink in real good, that pencil is not leaving your grip. Those charcoals are not moving an inch. They're going exactly where you tell them to. There's precision with the talons.
I agree. Now, if you're doing a more artistic rendition of an owlbear, maybe some claw smudges could come in handy for shading, but for a more scientific, academic, I think talons would be the right call.
So there's like an expressive quality inherent to bear claws.
Are we in fact saying that an owlbear could be the perfect artist because they may have both talons and claws? Depending on which appendage they use, they could in fact create the perfect masterpiece. Maybe that's their domesticatable trait. They're artists.
You're painting a beautiful picture for me. There is a potential for a master cartographer to be domesticated. There's a chance with their supreme ability to explore the natural world, as well as their ability to draw that natural world, this could be sort of like man's new best friend.
Now, I know 2 things. One, it's sometimes easier to draw things when you look at it upside down. And 2, owls are able to turn their heads 180 degrees. Now, do you think that owlbears are able to do that, and that would in fact make them better artists?
I think we're getting to the meat of the issue, which is that they have honed skills. They've got the artistry of the owl, and they sort of got the boldness of a bear, perhaps.
I did flip the page here, and I'm seeing additional sketches that's kind of throwing me for a loop here. We clearly have this owlbear gripping a deer with talons, rather enjoying it. I, for one, love a good venison burger, but he seems to be gorging on just the hoof of this deer, which makes me question his ability to determine what good art would be.
Or is he maybe using the deer as some type of artistic implement, like this is just him kind of chewing on the end of a pencil here?
That's a good point. He is gripping this deer pretty solidly, could move this pretty rapidly across any sort of canvas.
There's almost like a twisting motion that I see that indicates that there's going to be a juicing that takes place, a way to sort of squeeze from it all of the luscious red pigment.
Does deer juice make like a good painting material? Does anybody know that?
I'm not sure myself. I mean,
Well, so I may not know the consistency of deer juice and really what it means as a medium for painting, but I do know there's conditions where I'd fight this. I would fight it if I can confirm that it has not recently juiced its claws, because I feel like there's sort of a lubricant there. There's a way that it's going to slip across my flesh a little bit better in a way that's not in my benefit.
maybe a cat scratch fever situation here might get infected.
I haven't even considered the diseases. I'm leaning towards if I can stack the odds and it's a 3v1, I'd fight it. But if it's just me, that's a flight for sure.
Now, I'm seeing some pretty large eyes. I don't know, maybe you could make a play at those. They seem larger than a bear's eyes. Maybe that's in play if you just sock him in the eye, you know? I did that against my school bully, and he left me alone after he beat me up for the rest of the year. But the next year, he left me alone.
I think I would fight it only to domesticate it. If it starts getting a little bit out of hand, I'm taking the L.
It's a lot of good discussion, and I think it ultimately comes down to this. This thing is as big as a bear, so I think I'm going to be a flight on this one.
Size makes wise, I think could be a phrase. I'm sort of workshopping that. We're gonna work that one out a little.
Size of the thighs, avert your eyes.